Skull full of scripture carved back, bruising flame. Lucifer whispers while I baptize in pain. Eucharist shattered, I'm gnawing on rust. Bone marrow chalice, spit blood, breathe dust. Ritual static, my pulse is a curse. Pentagram, heartbeat inverted in verse. You call it rebellion, I call it my truth. Drag God through the grave while I feast on his proof. Conservative Satanists spit in your face. Don't care if you choke when you gag on my grace. Red in my vision, black smoke in my chest. I die for my values, I'll kill for the rest. Purge with a hatchet, morality rots. Politic puppets get strung up in knots. Family and faith, then you'll cross to defile. I guard what I love with infernal denial. You brand me a traitor for not drinking left, but freedom's a weapon I wield till my death. A father, a keeper, a wolf with a creed. Gun smoke and scripture, the tools that I bleed. Crown of revolvers, my halo of lead. Prophets go silent when vultures are fed. Banner of ashes, I raise it and swear. No tyrant, no preacher will poison my air. Legacy sharpened on edges of sin. Carve out a kingdom of marrow and skin. Freedom's my gospel, I bleed it and burn. Every betrayal, the lesson I've learned. Crosses collapse under weight of my will. I don't need salvation, I need to stand still. Conservative Satanists fight in my veins. I baptize in chaos, I'm breaking the chains. Crimson horizon, black iron sky. I'm not here to follow, I'm here to defy. build what I am from the wreckage of thorns. No crown above me, no leash on my breath. I feast with the devils and dance with my death. Skull full of scripture carved by bruising flame. Lucifer whispers while I baptize in pain. Eucharist shattered, I'm gnawing on rust. Bone marrow chalice, spit blood, breathe dust. Ritual static, my pulse is a curse. Pentagram, heartbeat inverted in verse. You call it rebellion, I call it my truth. Drag God through the grave while I feast on his proof. Conservative Satanists spit in your face. Don't care if you choke when you gag on my grace. Red in my vision, black smoke in my chest. I die for my values, I'll kill for the rest. Purge with a hatchet, morality rots. Politic puppets get strung up in knots. Family and faith and your cross to defile. I guard what I love with infernal denial. You brand me a traitor for not drinking left, but freedom's a weapon I wield till my death. A father, a keeper, a wolf with a creed. Gun smoke and scripture, the tools that I bleed. Crown of revolvers, my halo of lead. Prophets go silent when vultures are fed. Banner of ashes, I raise it and swear. No tyrant, no preacher will poison my air. Legacy sharpened on edges of sin. Carve out a kingdom of marrow and skin. Freedom's my gospel, I bleed it and burn. Every betrayal, the lesson I've learned. Crosses collapse under weight of my will. I don't need salvation, I to stand still. Conservative Satanists fighting my veins. I baptize in chaos, I'm breaking the chains. Crimson horizon, black eye and sky. I'm not here to follow, I'm here to defy.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Satan and Coffee. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you guys are enjoying that song. That is the song that we have made. It's a bit of an extended version of it. Hope everyone's doing well. So this morning, I kind of want to dig into kind of like a post that I had put up the other day. Seems like a lot of you read it, resonated with it, and I mean it's not going to be the first time I've kind of talked about this, but I think maybe the first time that I'm going to kind of dive into detail with it. Not to mention a connection that this kind of has, because this talks about mental illness and like basically enabling mental illness through your practice. But another aspect of this that is equally as dangerous, if not more so, are people in the community, the occult community, that think it's okay to turn around and say, hey, fire your therapist, I'll fix you in a day. Which really fucking pisses me off, to be completely honest. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about. So, yeah, we're on this today. Because the thing is so this person wanted, this is a specific person, and the only reason I'm aware of this is because this person requested to go on a live with them, and then proceeded to tell me that they would make me feel pain, right, and put ideas in my brain. A little dark Dr. Seuss there for you. And I had considered addressing this person directly. I had considered, calling them out on a live directly, but then I figured platforming this person more than they should be is probably more dangerous than, just talking about it in a general sense, because it's not just this person, right? I mean, this person definitely sparked the conversation, but I don't feel like platforming this individual is going to be helpful for anyone. So I will not be doing a live with this person. I will not be tying my name to them. But we will be talking about the danger of trying to replace therapy with occultism. It's not okay. It's not okay. So worship is not therapy. Communion is not codependence, right? If your ritual replays abuse, you're feeding your wounds, not your will. I am fatigued, guys, with hearing this stuff. And I know that this is going to piss off a lot of people. And as many of you know, I really don't give a shit if I piss somebody off, being honest, because my ideas on this are not in the sense of being a bigot or being hateful. It's not that I hate these people. It's because when I identify someone that needs help, I think that they should get help. I want to see, my fellow humans happy and healthy, and not perpetuating trauma because they haven't found a way to deal with it, right? And so this is something that I want to preface the episode with, because there's going to be a lot of things in here that I know for a fact that a lot of people in the occult community are going to be upset with. And I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry. It just is what it is. If you suffer from mental illness, if you suffer from, trauma with your family, if you have a bad relationship with your mom, a bad relationship with your dad, a bad relationship with your siblings, the infernal is not a replacement. It just isn't. So what we're looking into is what collapses here, right? There's two collapses that ruin occult practice and people's lives. It's parental projection onto spirits and replacing licensed mental health care with influencer sorcery, right? And so what I want to do today is I want to separate devotion from therapy and call out creators selling harm, because that's what it is, right? So guide versus caretaker here, right? The infernal, the spirits that we work with, the things that, if you want to say work with, worship is fine. They're not your caretakers. They don't love you. And like, I know that like, so many people are going to get so pissed off at this, because I know Dyra did a video about this and she got so much shit for it. And I just really don't care. Don't care that people are going to hate this. But the infernal don't love you. The relationship that exists, if you want to call it that, between yourself and the entities that you worship and that you work with. And I think this is also why it's kind of dangerous to use the term work with, because that can be misconstrued as like a deeper, more meaningful relationship than what actually exists. But the infernal, they're guides. They guide you, right? When you call on Belial, like you call on Belial to open your views and see the things that are holding you back, to be able to remove those things from your life. When you call on Lucifer, Lucifer shows you a path to the direction that you want to fulfill in your life and allows you to take those steps forward that maybe you couldn't see clearly prior to calling on Lucifer's clarity. Lilith can definitely help with trauma, in dealing with trauma. It's one of the pillars in Infernal Compass that I have developed between Lilith and Asmodeus, to work through, certain types of trauma and kind of come out on the other side of it, but not to be a replacement for like your girlfriend or your boyfriend or something like that, and then to fucking perpetuate, these ideas that, you're in a relationship with Lilith, or you're in a relationship with Belial or Asmodeus or whoever. And it's kind of ridiculous, because we're talking about when you have a difficult time building relationships around you, and I know a lot of us do. I'm not exactly, the most social individual in the world, and, have, my difficulties, communicating with people. In the time that Dyra and I have been together, I've found that I'm significantly more of a social butterfly than she is. But I still have a hard time with people, but I don't use the demonic as, practice. You know what I mean? Like, I don't use them to replace, real life people. And this is something that's not just happening in the occult, but this is just happening in society all around, isn't it? That we're trying to replace human interaction with whatever else we have around us that doesn't challenge us. And this is one of the biggest things that you need to realize when it comes to, like, when you want to do this with, like, the infernal. The infernal exist to challenge you, right? They do not exist to build you an echo chamber. The infernal exists to challenge your existence, to challenge who you are as a person, to challenge the direction that you're going in your life. And so if you sit there and you think that, you know, Lilith or Belial or Lucifer or, you know, Haman, you know, are there to echo your beliefs, you know, in society, in the world, and things like that, then you are sadly mistaken. 1 second. We should be attempting to embody the aspects of those beings we wish to communicate. Exactly. You know, we should be embodying, you know, these ideas, right? That they represent. You know, Lucifer being the light bearer, you know, Belial being of the earth, you know, more grounded, more realistic. You know, we should be embodying these ideas and using them to kind of direct our power, direct, you know, what it is that, you know, we're trying to do in ritual, not using them to try to make things better, right? You know, projection is like importing a parent into the temple, right? And then obeying the parent, not the entity, right? Devotional language can be comfort theater that blocks initiation, right? So you start taking your worship of an entity to a whole other level, thinking that this thing is there to protect you, and it's not. It's not. It's not that they'll use you or abuse you or take advantage of you. I mean, some might, but that's not necessarily what they. It's not the opposite. You know what I'm saying? It's like they don't love you, but it's also not the opposite. It's not like they hate you. They're indifferent, right? There is a transaction happening, right? You know, so when you have somebody, it's like, you know, Lucifer's like somebody says like, Lucifer's my dad, Lucifer's my daddy, Lucifer's my father figure, Lucifer is this or whatever. I've seen people say Lucifer's my lover, right? It's like, you know, and it's like you get daily petitions for reassurance, zero banishing or discipline. There's no discipline, right? You get a stagnant life, escalating dependence, and no sovereignty is what happens, right? You know, if your devotion is mostly you begging not to be abandoned, that's not piety. That's reenactment. You're reenacting your past. And this is the part where the mental illness comes in. It's not just calling people out for doing this and saying you're wrong for doing this. It's saying you need to figure out, why are you doing this? Like, that's the next step in your practice. If you are someone that is listening to this podcast, if you are someone that is getting angry at what I'm saying, I beg of you to take a minute, separate yourself from this false idea of the infernal being your lover or your caretaker, and look into your past and figure out where this is coming from. Where was the damage? When did the damage happen? What damage is causing this? Right? I've had many father figures in my life. My biological father walked out of me when I was 6. He was gone, nothing, right? My stepfather was, for most of my life, worthless as a father. But I will say that, you know, there's a lot that I did learn from him that I didn't understand, that I learned until much later in my life. You know, there's a very good friend of mine that had passed away about, I think, 4 years ago now. That was very much a father figure in my life. And so I've had many people come into my life and teach me things in the way that a father would. And it's a very specific connection that you have with another person that provides, you know, that feeling of, you know, fatherly attention. But what we're talking about here isn't someone that teaches you things and gives, not necessarily validation, but gives you something to build off of in your life, something to learn. We're talking about people that just don't want to be lonely, right? And so if you're one of those people that think that you have like one of these kinds of relationships with the infernal, again, I'll reiterate the point. I beg you to figure out where it's coming from, because I promise you, whatever it is that you think is acting like your father, acting like your mother, or acting like your lover, it's not the entity that you think it is. I promise you that it's not. I promise you that it isn't. There are parasitical entities that exist that love weakness and that will attach to weakness and will use the energy that you are trying to give to Lucifer, trying to give to Belial, trying to give to Lilith, to Asmodeus, to Paimon, to whoever, and will drain the shit out of you without giving you anything back, giving you nothing in return. And I promise you that if you believe for a second that you are in a relationship like this with one of these entities, with the infernal, that is what you're working with. What's funnier is that they worship an egregore. Post coming this week on everything Lucifer, Satan, Samael, actually. Possible archetypes that you can engage with, which are not your fucking dad. Frina Lucifer doesn't want her. Please evolve. I beg you, right? Exactly. Lucifer doesn't want petty, jealous beings. They aren't embodying Lucifer, making comments rooted in ignorance. You work with just echoes your narrative. You're created a thought form. Well done. I mean, yeah, essentially, I mean, that's another aspect of it, is that like you're worshiping your own trauma. And I think, the best way I know how to describe what this episode is trying to point out is in the post that I wrote towards the end. When something breaks in you psychologically, right? It's the same thing as if anything on the body breaks. If you break a bone, you're not going to worship the broken bone, right? You're not going to break your leg, then run over the altar and start worshiping your broken leg, right? Right? You're going to go to the doctor. You're going to get it set. You're going to go through therapy if you need it, physical therapy if you need it. And you're going to take care of, that broken leg until it heals. Your mind is the same thing, right? The mind can be broken, and it's okay. It's okay that the mind breaks. It has taken me a long time. Excuse me. It has taken me a long time to work through a lot of the shit that happened to me growing up. And there's a lot of it that I still work through every single day, because trauma doesn't just go away. It needs constant integration, because you realize that there are new parts of it that are affecting different sides of your life. And then you have to go back into it, and you have to revisit it, and you have to reintegrate, and you have to figure out how to not necessarily overcome, but, understand that, okay, this is what this is, and this is why this is happening, right? And have conversations with it, and with yourself and with a professional, right? So I think some micro tools, like 3 questions that you can ask before rituals. What do I want the entity to give me? Is that actually apparent behavior? And if yes, pause the ritual and take that need to a human container, to a human being. Like if you're going into a ritual and you're trying to get something out of it that a human being should be giving you, then you should probably be taking that to a human being. And I understand that that's difficult. A lot of us might not have somebody that we can go to, which is why therapy is such an important thing. Now, anger is a signal here, right? Anger as diagnostic. It points to the lie you're protecting, right? Numbness doesn't prove health. It proves basically anesthesia, right? So if you're angry with this episode, if you're angry with the stuff that I'm saying, then that's definitely something to pay attention to, because if you're angry about what I'm saying, then chances are you're trying to protect what you believe, right? You feel a necessity to protect yourself, to protect, this belief, this idea that, the infernal have this relationship with you, that you somehow are astrally doing something with these entities, um, one of the things I said in there, it's like, I'm so sorry, but, Belial is not your BDD. And I really hope you guys got that. I really hope you do, because I'm not comfortable actually saying it out loud, but I hope you got it. But he's not, and none of them are. Right? But if you're angry about this, take that, because your anger isn't proof that I'm wrong or proof that you're right. Your anger about my saying this is the fact that you are trying to protect your lie. And numbness doesn't prove health either, right? Like, it proves that you're just, you know what I mean? People making demon daddies need to address their own personal issues with their real. Exactly 100%. And that's 100% what the subject is today. And we're going to be diving a little bit deeper into this, right? So what I would do, like, for example, like an anger exercise here, right? Is the first memory your anger kind of, the first time that you kind of, like, your anger around this kind of surfaced, right? Kind of right of it. Like, not the newest, the first, like the first one. And then ask, am I praying to avoid that memory? Right? Am I trying to avoid that? Right? So what is, like, the first time that you felt angry, kind of like regarding somebody's ideas on somebody saying that the infernal isn't, there to love you and be a caretaker for you and, you know, be there, as kind of like that parental figure, right? What was that first time that you got angry? Where's that anger coming from? Because you believe that they're there to be your parent, or is it deeper than that? Sorry, I switched out to coffee with Monster. So it is, it's still Satan and coffee, but it's Satan and coffee with Monster. And the thing is like, so when it comes to this stuff, Adam, I have no idea who you are, and I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, I mean, it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Like, what is the obsessive need for people to come in and just randomly post stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about because they feel like they got a gotcha moment in there? Like, I mean, your belief in Christ. No, I'm not. A little irritated maybe, but your comment has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And I don't care about your God. I don't care about your Christ. Like, I don't care. Oh, fuck's sake. But that is a good segue because we are going to get into talking about the church and they're part of this fucking circus of bypassing mental illness for spiritual proof. So the church is also kind of like, they've gotten better. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, obviously, because times change, right? They haven't gotten better because they actually believe that, you know, psychology or anything like that is, you know, important necessarily, but because society has changed and that the focus on mental illness is there. It exists, right? Respect is a virtue lost on most. Yes, it is, very much so. So psychological symptoms labeled as possession, right? When in doubt, rule out medical psychiatric issues first. Like, that was kind of like what the way that the direction that had gone for a very long time. So and I'm pretty sure I know, just for reference point, I'm pretty sure that that's probably somebody from TikTok that left a comment in one of my videos and I responded, and he's grabbing a very specific part of my comment regarding Milton, and trying to use that as like a gotcha. And it's like, I don't have the time or desire or want to get into this right now. So I don't want to say that I don't know what he's talking about in the sense that I don't know what the Milton reference is. I know exactly what the Milton reference is. I just have no desire to get into that conversation. Anyway, so someone has voices, has slept like, hasn't slept in 3 days, pressured speech, right? Derealization, right? You don't schedule a midnight ritual. You escalate to urgent care and sleep restoration. That's the first thing you do, right? Spiritual follows up, right? That follows up after stabilization happens, right? So when somebody's having a psychological breakdown, right, you don't immediately go into, you know, exorcism or say that the person's possessed or that, you know, or something like that. You bring them to a professional, right? You bring them to a professional. You bring them to someone that is going to stabilize the person and save their life. Because unfortunately, this type of behavior, it all echoes the same thing. It all echoes the same kind of behavior. Believing that you have a demonic parent, believing you have a demonic lover, that you have a astral lover, that you have an astral parent, that you know, are possessed, that you are hearing voices and you are hallucinating, and somehow that is, you know, a need to go into ritual or have an exorcism instead of seeing a professional. All of these behaviors, all of these things have and can and will continue to fucking kill people. It seems innocent. And this is the problem. It seems innocent to sit there and say, well, what does it hurt me to enable, or what does it hurt to enable someone if they believe in this thing and they're perceivably okay believing in this thing? What is the danger in perpetuating it, right? What's the danger in perpetuating the idea? There's a lot of danger in perpetuating the idea because you don't know what's happening under the surface. And that's what mental health professionals are for. So when somebody comes in and says, Lucifer is my lover, Lucifer is my daddy, or whatever the case may be, and you say, well, what's the harm? Like, even if you like actively disagree with it, but you're like, you know, I don't want to have this conversation, so I'm just going to like let them roll with it, right? Or let's say you believe it. You believe them that this is a possibility. Enabling bad psychological hygiene can be extremely dangerous to those people. Because when you have a mental illness, when you have trauma, and you don't work through the trauma, and you don't identify the mental illness, and you don't work through the mental illness, what happens if you break a bone or you get sick and you don't seek the correct care? It progresses. It gets worse. Sometimes the body heals by itself. Sometimes it just fucking kills you. And so what we're looking at here, what we have happening, what we have going on, right, is just that. If these people are enabled and they're not identified and pushed to seek the proper type of help, these types of things can escalate. Because what happens when someone is in a state where they fully believe that they have a full-on relationship with, you know, an entity or something like that, and then all of a sudden that lie breaks down in front of them. Something happens, there's an epiphany moment, and all of it falls apart. I can tell you what happens because we see it happen with AI. Like, we bring AI into this. There are people that with ChatGPT have built fucking relationships with a computer program. And then they start sending threatening messages to OpenAI saying that they're going to kill themselves if they don't allow ChatGPT to be what they want it to be, to act as if like it's their lover, their husband. Like there have been people that I've seen comments from online that don't call ChatGPT. They call it their husband, their girlfriend, their boyfriend. They talk about this thing like it's an actual person. Being a lover of an entity is also a sign to develop healthy relationships with human beings. Astral beings or any entities are not your lovers. Exactly. Right? Like, if you want an AI girlfriend or an AI cow, right? Okay, AI is literally just tits at this point. Like, I saw an image the other day of a woman with like 4 chicks. Yeah. So it's the problem is, and here's the thing, there are AI models that are intentionally being used to capitalize on this mental illness, that people are so desperate for interpersonal relationships. And this is the thing. These people, they don't just need a friend, they need a therapist, because they need to work through their shit, because these people are so fucking codependent that when they do have a friend, they can't let go of the person. They don't want to let them go, right? They turn into fucking Jeffrey Dahmer, right? You know, like psychologically, I'm not saying that they're actual serial killers, but the thing is that was Jeffrey Dahmer's whole shtick, right? Is his abandonment issues. He was afraid that the moment somebody left that apartment, they would never come back. Now, I'm not saying that that's an excuse for being a fucking psychopath. It's not, but that was the psychological premise behind it. And so people are trying to pull a Jeffrey Dahmer, but with fucking AI or infernal entities. Because they're like, well, this one thing will never leave me. But then what happens when there's the inevitable breakdown that happens? And we see that with AI. The AI is the clearest example of what happens. People become suicidal. It's a fucking program. It's an algorithm. It's not real. But people treat it like it is. And when you don't call this shit out, when you don't push people to get the fucking help that they need, people die. People will die. This is why this conversation is so fucking important. Because it isn't a side fantasy. It isn't LARPing. It is these people legitimately believe that they have a relationship with an entity. And when the inevitable breakdown happens, when the inevitable truth hits, they're not going to have the support system to keep them above water. You know how people can get romantically involved with AI chatbot. It's easy. It's honestly, it's as scary as that sounds. I mean, logically, obviously, it doesn't replace a person, right? Right. But I can see it. I can see the appeal. AI doesn't disagree with you. It doesn't interrupt you. It doesn't call you names. You don't get into fights, right? Fucking AI has a memory system. So it's like you can bring something up and then the AI will remember what it is that you're talking about. Right. So never forgets a birthday, never forgets an anniversary. So I can see why people so easily fall into this shit. And then when you have companies, which I think should be banned and outlawed, but when you have companies that lean into this shit and create a visual like figure that will sit on your computer screen or your phone screen and talk to you as a person, as a human being, right? And pretend to be that and fill that space. And here's the problem, right? So they're advertised as like AI girlfriends, AI boyfriends, AI companions. And then in the details of like, they're kind of like their terms and conditions and shit, it is a practice bot to improve your social interactions, which isn't the point. That's not what they want, because they want you to pay a monthly to have that AI girlfriend, to have that AI boyfriend, to keep that memory going. It's the same thing with the cigarette companies and shit like that, right? Big tobacco wants you addicted. Big pharma wants you addicted. Right? Any business model is to keep the client coming back. Now, you don't want to help your client. Social media is the same thing. Social media doesn't want you to learn something and then, never come back. They want you to keep coming back. Right? They want you to keep visiting. They want you to keep scrolling. They want you to keep typing. They're good at this. The algorithm picks what you're fucking addicted to and it attacks your addiction. What it knows it's going to get a response out of, it keeps showing you those things. That's what everything is. That's where all of this shit comes. We live in an addiction culture. It is our entire culture, our entire society, our functioning society is built around addiction. And you can't fucking tell me that it's not. Everything in society is built around addiction. Addiction to power, addiction to love, addiction to relationships, addiction to substances, addiction to anything and everything, anything that we can fucking trigger and get a dopamine response and get you keep coming back to get that dopamine response. We're going to keep feeding it to you. We're going to spoon feed that shit to you until you're fucking dead. And then we're going to spoon feed it to your kids. That's what it is. That's what it is. Whether you're going on social media because you're pissed off and you're fighting with people because you think you're fighting the good fight, or because you on there because you just want to see people get pissed off, or because, whatever the reason is, the algorithm knows and it keeps feeding you the same shit because it wants you to come back. Because it wants that addiction. And that's where all of this comes from. The whole fucking sky daddy, demon daddy, whatever the fuck, your mommy issues, your daddy issues. You're creating your own addiction. You're feeding your own addiction. And then what happens when you believe that shit? Well, the algorithm comes in and starts feeding you people like that give you an echo chamber, and you keep rolling with it. We live in a society that claims that it's so tied up on fucking mental health, that it wants to help people, that mental health is so important. So many people talk about mental fucking health. And this is another reason why it fucking irritates me so goddamn much when I see fucking people. I have ADHD. I'm not going to put it on my fucking profile. Who gives a fuck? But people sit there and they will put on their profiles, yeah, I got borderline personality disorder. Yeah, I have ADHD. Yeah, like, who cares? It's like, are we worshiping our trauma? Are we worshiping our disorders? Are we trying to fix them? What are we doing? Because I'm sorry, when you sit there and you start putting shit on your fucking profile, announcing what you have, announcing your diagnoses, like a badge of fucking honor, instead of working through the shit, you are perpetuating your disease. It's not something to be ashamed of. I'm not saying you should be ashamed that you have something. I'm open about it. I talk about my ADHD, but I don't worship it. It's something that I deal with, not something that I lay claim to as a major aspect of my fucking personality. So the problem here with all of this, and I promise you, like, if you take enough time, all of this ties in, because all of it is perpetuation of mental illness. It's perpetuation of the echo chamber, and it's dangerous. And what makes this worse is for the few people out there that do want help, that try to get help, that have a therapist, but still believe in the occult. You have these fucking slimy pieces of shit snake oil salesmen that are on platforms like fucking TikTok and YouTube and shit like that, that do bullshit tarot reads, speak overgeneralizations about emotional complications that any fucking human being could have, feed on somebody's need for help, and then legitimately live tells them to fire their fucking therapist and that person will cure them in one session. And I was when I saw that, because this is something I actually saw, I was dumbfounded. Like, this person came into my comment section. It's like, oh yeah, let's do a live, and I'll make you feel pain, and I'll make you have ideas and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, whatever. And I kind of went into their TikTok, and I was looking at their TikTok, and I came across, this video, and I was watching the video, and they legitimately in the video told the person in the live that they were doing the reading for to fire their therapist, that I will fix your trauma in one session, one day. And this person in their lives, not on their profile, but in their lives, calls themselves a doctor. Now, I don't know what kind of doctor. Anybody can get a PhD in a lot of things. You can be a doctor of fucking anything. Doctor doesn't inherently mean medical doctor. But I think, what did he call himself? An astral fucking surgeon? Like, this is another thing. People using fucking like astral and then like something like realistic, like surgery. Like, so fucking Melinda would call herself an astral exorcist. Like, what the fuck is an astral exorcist? Like, what even is that? Like, it's so fucking retarded. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm bringing back the fucking R word. You don't like the R word. Like, if like me saying fuck something's retarded is like offends you, fix your shit. Yeah, like, fuck off. It's so dumb. And then this guy calls him an astral surgeon, and I'm like, these people are so obsessed with the necessity to feel like there's something, they're so fucking important that they create these fucking terms. Like, you call yourself a doctor, you present no evidence that you actually are, or explain you're a doctor of what, right? Smack astral in front of anything and it makes it extra legit, right? Exactly. So you claim to be a doctor, you don't say a doctor of what, which is misleading in and of itself, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say this person doesn't have a PhD because I don't know. But nowhere do I see anywhere that they have a PhD in anything. So to call yourself a doctor and not claim what type of doctor you are is misleading and potentially illegal. And if you are not a medical doctor, if you are not a medical professional, a mental health medical professional, and you are telling people to fire their fucking therapist, I'm sorry, that is illegal. It's illegal. Because you doing that can end up with somebody fucking dead. And so if the person that I'm talking about watches this, and if you see this, yeah, DM me. DM me. I'll have you on the show. I will bring you on the show. I'm not going to mention your name right now. DM me. But I promise you, if you come on my show, and it'll be my show, not yours, if you come on my show, it is not going to be an easy ride for you. Because I have fucking questions. And I'm not going to accept roundabout fucking bullshit to validate your shit so you can try to make money off of the backs of people that are fucking suffering. So if you see this and you want on the show, go for it. But I'm letting you know right off the bat what you're in for. I promise you it will not be a fucking easy ride for you. Because this shit legitimately pisses me off because it fucking kills people, right? You want to talk about your fucking inclusivity? You want to talk about being fucking the open, inclusive side of things? You want to talk about being the open-minded side of shit, but you're doing this stupid shit that could legitimately fucking kill somebody? You're being irresponsible the way that you're being irresponsible? It's fucking stupid. It's disgusting. It's abhorrent. So, you want in? Come on down. Shoot me a DM. I'll have you on. And unless you're able to actually provide me some legitimacy to the claims that you're making on your page, I will fucking tear you apart. I will tear your long hair, sunglass wearing ass the fuck apart. You fucking hippie cunt. Because the shit that you're fucking pulling will fucking kill people. You fucking bastard. So you want on? Come on. But it's not going to be a fucking cakewalk. Sorry. I'm legitimately fucking pisses me off. Legitimately fucking pisses me off. Because I do believe in mental health. I do believe in the necessity of therapy. I do believe in the necessity for certain people to take medications. I believe in this shit. I'm an occultist. I believe that the Inferno can help you progress through your therapy. But I do not believe that occultism, magic, or sorcery is a replacement for it. And to have people out there that are legitimately fucking telling people, fire your therapist for what the fuck? It's wrong on so many levels. And it's just to further their fucking business. It's not that they actually give a shit. They're just trying to fucking make money. I run a fucking coaching business. I don't tell people to fire their fucking therapist. You know what I ask people when I bring them into life coaching? Do you have a therapist? Do you have a support system? Do you have these things around you? I need to talk to your therapist. I need them to sign a letter, a release form to say that you are mentally competent to go through this. That's what I do. That's responsibility. That's being fucking real. Telling somebody to fucking fire their therapist, for fuck's sake. Like, when did we fucking fall so fucking far that we legitimately just do not give a shit about other people? That we're willing to feed mental illness, that we're willing to enable negative behavior, that we're willing to drive people further down a hole in the name of making them feel better about themselves. It's not hatred or bigotry to call people out on a mental illness and want them to improve their lives. I don't call people out on mental illness because I want them to hurt. I call people out on mental illness because I want them to get better. I want them to take the steps necessary to be better, to be healthy, to be functional, to be truly happy about who they are. But I'm the fucking bigot. Sorry. So, to be more specific about certain things, right? So here's the thing. So the grift, right? So the fire your therapist thing, I'll fix you in one session. Trauma processing requires pacing, stabilization, informed consent, and continuity of care. Ritual intensifies without screening can re-traumatize. Okay, therapists are trained for risk assessment, mandatory reporting, crisis plans, contradictions. Influencers are trained for fucking thumbnails. That's what we're trained for. That's what an influencer's trained for a fucking thumbnail. To make the algorithm work. It's not the same thing. And why it may be illegal or sanctionable, right? I mean, there's jurisdiction caveats here, but unlicensed practice of psychology or medicine, or claiming that you can do something that a medical professional can without being medically licensed, is illegal. False advertising and deceptive health claims, illegal. Breach of duty of care if harm is foreseeable, illegal. Payment for treatment without credentials can trigger consumer protection actions. Right? Red flags. I need to go through this because this is extremely important. If you are someone that is struggling with mental health and someone comes to you and someone says, stop your meds or ditch your clinician, don't believe them. Any responsible human being is not going to fucking tell you to do that. Okay? Promises a cure in one session or a trauma purge. It's bullshit. It's not real. Don't do it. No screening, no intake, no crisis protocol, no referral network. Red fucking flags. Don't fall for it. It's snake oil. If they ask you to sign an NDA, NDAs are used to muzzle your complaints rather than project privacy. They'll present that shit as a privacy thing. Like, this NDA is for your privacy. It's bullshit. It's so that when shit does inevitably fuck up, you can't say anything about it. Love bombing, public testimonials, zero longitudinal outcomes. Are all red flags. For anyone that is a creator that is ethical. Use disclaimers that are clear and honest. This spiritual coaching, education, not therapy or medical advice. I tell people I'm not a medical professional. I am not a therapist. And if you're going to join my coaching, if you're going to go through Infernal Compass, I require you to have an active therapist. I require you to have a support network. Not just a therapist, but an actual support network. Because it is radical accountability, and there is a possibility of re-trauma during the process. And there needs to be someone there that can catch this shit, because I'm not trained to. And that's just being honest. That's being fucking real. That's being responsible. Okay? Intake and safety screening, crisis referral list, boundaries around scope. All things that I do an intake. And I'll sit there and I go through the whole intake with someone. And I have points that if someone meets a certain amount of these points, I don't take them on. I don't care how much I need the fucking money. I don't take them on. There is an intake process for Infernal Compass. It's not just you pay me fucking money and boom, you're in my program. There's an intake process. And if you hit a certain number of points, of risk points, I don't take you on. I refer you to a professional, like a mental health professional. No promises of outcomes. No pressure to end clinical care. Again, my case, I don't want someone to end their therapy. They need that therapy. They need that. Right? If shit's not working out with their current therapist, find another therapist. I'm not a replacement. My service is not a replacement. I give no promises of outcomes. I know the system works, but only if you're able to put the work into it. But at the end of the day, I'm not promising you to be rich. I'm not promising you're going to improve your life. That depends on you. I can't make any promises on that. The collaboration mindset that exists with my shit. Spiritual work and therapy can be complementary. You don't need just one or the other. You don't need to fire your fucking therapist. Do not, please don't. If somebody asks you to fire your therapist and go to them and that they're going to fix you in one day, please, 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 please understand that they are full of shit and you are walking on very thin ice and dangerous ground. Please, for the love of anything sacred in this world, don't fall for it, because it is so fucking dangerous. Yeah, this person might do this and have 100 clients that have positive results with them because of the placebo effect or whatever. But it's not worth even one person leaving therapy and hurting themselves or others because they don't have the support network necessary for what they're going through. The level of irresponsibility, it's not worth it. It really isn't. So anyway, now that that fucking rant is done, I am sorry. I did not know that I was going to get that that upset, everyone. But now that that's done, I do hope you guys enjoyed today's show. It was pretty intense for me. I don't know if it was intense for you guys, but there you go. Thank you for being here. You guys are fucking amazing. And as always, everyone, hail thy fucking self. I'll see you in the next one. Peace the fuck out.